Welcome to Plain Explain, where we take the most complex ideas humanity has ever created and turn them into something you can actually understand. Today's topic is not just interesting, it's dangerous. Because ideas can be more powerful than weapons, more enduring than empires, and more disruptive than revolutions. Some ideas have changed the world for the better. Others have shattered entire belief systems. And a few are so unsettling that people throughout history have tried to silence them, ban them, or pretend they don't exist. In this video, we're going to explore the most dangerous ideas in philosophy, ideas that challenge meaning, truth, freedom, purpose, and reality itself. Ideas that question the ground we stand on. Ideas that once understood can never be forgotten. If you're ready to step into the deep end of human thought, let's begin. Have you ever noticed that the most powerful things in the world are invisible? You can't touch them, you can't see them. But they shape how entire civilizations behave, what people believe, and even how they justify what is right and what is wrong. Those invisible things are ideas. And some ideas are so explosive that once released, they change the course of history forever. Today we're going to explore the most dangerous ideas in philosophy, not because they are evil or destructive or forbidden, but because they challenge the foundations of what we think we know, pushing us to confront questions most people would prefer to avoid. These are the ideas that unsettle, the ideas that liberate, and the ideas that terrify. Let's begin. The first dangerous idea is one that appears simple, but is perhaps the most psychologically destabilizing of all: nihilism. The belief that nothing truly has meaning. To understand why this idea is so dangerous, imagine you're playing a long, complicated game. You've followed the rules, tried your best, won some rounds, lost some. Then suddenly, someone walks up and whispers, "By the way, this game doesn't matter. There are no winners. There's no prize. This whole thing is pointless." How would you feel? For many people, this is what nihilism does to life itself. It challenges the very structure of values, morality, purpose, and identity. If nothing ultimately matters, then every rule society has created becomes optional. Morality is no longer a solid foundation, but a fragile construction. Laws begin to feel arbitrary. Traditions become illusions. And even personal goals lose their power. But here's the twist: Nietzsche, the philosopher most associated with nihilism, didn't promote it. He feared it. He saw nihilism as a dark gravitational collapse of meaning, the moment when a culture realizes that its old values no longer hold, but hasn't discovered new ones yet. Nihilism is dangerous, not because it makes people violent, but because it makes people empty. It leaves a vacuum. And nature, especially human nature, hates vacuums. If you remove meaning, people will cling desperately to anything that promises to replace it. Good ideas, bad ideas, extreme ideas. It all depends on what fills the void. That's why nihilism is dangerous. Not as a conclusion, but as a beginning. The second idea takes danger to a different level. Instead of destroying meaning, it attacks knowledge itself. Radical skepticism. The notion that you cannot know with absolute certainty anything at all. Most skepticism is healthy. It helps science reasoning and decision-making. But radical skepticism asks questions so deep that they pull the rug out from under reality. How do you know the external world exists? How do you know your senses aren't deceiving you? How do you know your memories are real? How do you know that anything you've ever believed isn't just a long, vivid dream? This is not a trick nor a philosophical puzzle. It is a fundamental challenge. Because everything we claim to know, science, history, even daily experience, depends on the assumption that our senses and our minds are reliable. Imagine a camera that's slightly broken, but you can't use another camera to verify what you see. No matter what you record, you can't be sure if it's the world that's wrong. Or the camera. This is the skeptic's dilemma. Descartes famously plunged into this uncertainty. He doubted everything: the world, the body, mathematics, even God. But he found one thing he could not doubt: the act of doubting itself. I think, therefore, I am. It sounds simple, but this single statement rescued Western philosophy from falling into a void of absolute uncertainty. It acted as an anchor, a point of certainty that could not be shaken. Still, radical skepticism remains dangerous because it forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Everything we believe rests on assumptions we rarely question. The foundation of knowledge is thinner than it appears. And once you start doubting the ground beneath your feet, it becomes hard not to sink. Our next dangerous idea flips the concept of freedom on its head. People say they want freedom, but philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre believed most people are terrified of it. His idea is called radical freedom, the belief that humans are completely responsible for every choice they make. No excuses, no destiny, no fate. No, this is just how I am. According to Sartre, you are the author of your life whether you like it or not. If you fail, it's on you. If you're unhappy, it's on you. If your life is heading in a direction you don't like, you are free to choose another direction at any moment. At first, this sounds empowering. Then it becomes horrifying, because radical freedom removes every psychological escape route. You can no longer blame society, parents, personality, genetics, or circumstances. Every action becomes a declaration of who you choose to be. Imagine being told that the pilot of your life was never the world around you. It was always you sitting in the cockpit, hands on the controls, even when you pretended otherwise. That level of responsibility is heavy. It produces what Sartre called anguish, the crushing awareness of freedom. A realization so intense that many people immediately try to run away from it. We often fear the idea of freedom, not because it liberates us, but because it exposes us. It forces us to admit that we are not trapped. We are choosing. And that is a difficult truth to bear. The fourth idea is not tied to any single philosopher, but it haunts the entire history of thought: cosmic indifference. The belief that the universe does not care about us at all. Human beings like to imagine purpose. We like to believe we matter, that someone, something, or some higher force is watching, guiding, judging, or at least noticing. But modern science tells a different story. We live on a small planet orbiting a random star in a galaxy among trillions inside a universe so vast that our existence barely registers. There is no cosmic scoreboard, no universal judge, no guarantee that humanity has any significance beyond what we assign to ourselves. For thousands of years, humans believed they were at the center of everything. Now we are learning that we are not even the center of our own galaxy. This realization can be liberating or crushing, because if the universe is indifferent, then meaning is not discovered. It is created, not found, but built. And that responsibility rests solely on us. Cosmic indifference is dangerous because it strips away comfort. It forces us to confront the possibility that life has no built-in meaning, no grand plan, no guaranteed justice. But it also opens a path toward a more honest form of purpose, one crafted intentionally, not inherited blindly. Meaning becomes something we sculpt, not something we stumble upon. And that quiet, terrifying freedom is what makes this idea so powerful. The final dangerous idea brings us into territory that feels eerily modern. It's called the brain in a vat scenario, and it asks a simple, disturbing question. If your entire experience could be simulated perfectly, how would you ever know? Imagine that your brain is floating in a tank connected to a super advanced computer that feeds it electrical signals identical to real sensations. Every sight, every sound, every touch, every memory, every emotion, all of it could be artificially generated. From your perspective, the world would feel completely real. But none of it would actually exist. This idea attacks the very definition of reality. It undermines trust in our senses, our memories, and the external world. It blurs the line between simulation and truth. Modern versions of this thought experiment appear in discussions about virtual reality neuroscience and the possibility that our universe itself might be a simulation. But here's the dangerous part. If you can't distinguish between a perfect simulation and reality, then the distinction stops mattering. Your experience would still feel real. Your emotions would still feel real. Your life would still feel real, even if the world around you was nothing more than code. So the question becomes, what makes something real? Is it the physical world or the experience itself? The brain in a vat forces us to confront a possibility we may never be able to answer, yet can never fully ignore. And that uncertainty is what makes it so unsettling. So, what do all these dangerous ideas have in common? They each pull at a thread in the fabric of reality. Meaning, knowledge, freedom, purpose, reality itself. They expose the fragile assumptions that hold our world together, not because they are wrong or harmful or destructive, but because they show us how easily the foundations of life can be questioned. Dangerous ideas are not dangerous because they cause chaos. They're dangerous because they reveal truths we're not prepared to handle. But here's the final twist. Every major leap in human understanding was born from an idea that once seemed dangerous. The Earth orbits the sun. Species evolve. Slavery is immoral. Democracy is possible. The universe is far larger than we imagined. These ideas were shocking, radical, and disruptive. Yet they reshaped the world in ways that allowed future generations to thrive. Dangerous ideas challenge not only what we believe, but who we are. They force us to question, to doubt, to think more deeply about the world and our place in it. And in that questioning, we find something unexpected, not destruction, but growth. Not despair, but clarity. Not emptiness, but the chance to build meaning with our own hands. Because ideas may be dangerous, but the danger lies not in the idea itself. It lies in what we choose to do with it. And that choice, like all the most important choices, is ultimately ours. Thank you for watching this exploration of philosophy's most dangerous ideas. Ideas that unsettle us, not because they are harmful, but because they reveal how fragile our assumptions truly are. If this journey made you think differently, even for a moment, then you've experienced exactly what philosophy is meant to do. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to Plain Explain for more deep dives into the ideas that shape our world. Leave a comment sharing which idea resonated with you the most, or which one you want to see explored further. Your thoughts help guide what we explore next. And remember, ideas become dangerous not when we confront them, but when we refuse to. Stay curious, stay thoughtful, and I'll see you in the next video.